While some may love them, some may hate them, it cannot be denied that Capcom is the absolute king of third-party characters. Next to the likes of Nintendo, it could be argued that Capcom themselves have not only some of the most iconic characters, but also some of the most revolutionary characters as well. It's because of this fact that Capcom is the king of crossover appearances, the Versus series being a legendary testament to this. With all of this said though, it's no shock that Capcom is one of the main companies fans have gone to when talking about third-party characters for Smash. Right now, we currently have 3 playable Capcom characters, those being Mega Man from the Mega Man franchise, along with Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter, which is barely even scraping the surface of what Capcom could bring to the table, especially when some of the most sought-after DLC characters right now are from Capcom themselves. A lot of fans would love to see the inclusion of Phoenix Wright, as Ace Attorney has very strong ties to Nintendo consoles. Monster Hunter is a lot like the Ace Attorney games in regards as the franchise has seen a huge amount of success on Nintendo platforms, and ever since the release of Devil May Cry 5, Dante has become a very popular choice. Hell, I even made a video for him around a month ago. Despite all this, however, none of these characters are the Capcom character I want the most. No, the Capcom character I wish to see the most comes from a small title that was released back in the year 2006. This title, created by Devil May Cry and Beautiful Joe creator Hideki Kamiya, would go on to have one of the strongest cult followings I've ever seen and receive not only a sequel, but an HD revamp years down the line. Yes, my most wanted Capcom character for Super Smash Bros. Is Amaterasu, the main character of the hit game, Okami. Amaterasu has been a reasonably popular request ever since the days of Brawl, but the release of her game to practically every platform is what made her support grow nearly 5-fold by the time Smash Bros. Ultimate was announced. I've definitely supported her since the beginning, and I'm glad to finally be making this video. Alright, this is Amaterasu, Goddess of the Sun, for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Amaterasu, or Ami as I'll be calling her from now on as it's shorter, is a pure quadruped character, looking and standing much like that of a regular wolf. Her hitbox would be more wide than it is tall, being just tall enough to get hit by even the tallest character's basic attacks. Movement-wise, she is very fast and moves low to the ground when she's running, all while using Fleetfoot as her role. A short hurtbox isn't the only thing Ami is bringing with her to Smash, as this design concept for Ami mainly focuses on the use of celestial brush techniques as opposed to focusing on the variety of weapons that she can use in her game, much like her playstyle in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 does. As a result, Ami is only bringing one weapon along with her for this moveset, and that's her standard reflector weapon, Divine Retribution. Ami is a mixed-range character that excels at stage control and area denial, all while switching in between a variety of abilities that can turn the tide of the battle in her favor. She is very quick and can hit quite hard, but is in turn rather fragile and can't take too many hits before she's knocked out. She has been given a ton of tools to keep herself alive far outside the limit of her weight, so it's up to the player to use and manage them effectively in order to secure a win using Ami. What tools are that, you might ask? To answer that, let's talk about Ami's character gimmick. As previously mentioned, the Ami that I have in mind for Smash Bros. Strays away from the kind of character that other crossover titles have made her out to be, as instead of using an abundance of different weapons, the Amaterasu of Smash Bros.' main focus is her Celestial Brush and the abilities that it can access. Each ability can be selected individually from a wheel that will appear around Ami and have no time limit attached to them, allowing Ami to use them as long as she likes. But don't be reckless, as instead of a time limit, these abilities instead have a resource limit in the form of ink pots. Like in Okami, Ami will have a set of ink pots above her health bar, the icons draining with each brush technique performed and replenishing naturally over time. In Smash, Ami will come equipped with 6 ink pots as opposed to the usual 3 that you would start with each ink pot recovering after a 4-second period of time. Curious to see which abilities Ami can use in Smash? Well, I'll get to that in her specials, so for now, let's start discussing Ami's moveset by talking about her normals. Ami's weapon, Divine Retribution, is the heart of a majority of her normals, while also using several bite and kick attacks in order to mix things up and keep her playstyle fresh and original. Divine Retribution is much like that of your average sword, in which it makes any attack that uses it mostly disjointed and hard to trade with. Ami's standard combo is 5 wins, a unique jab combo by the fact that it's not only quite powerful, but also hits 5 times as opposed to the usual 3 or 1-2 rapid jab combos of other characters. The final hit of 5 wins is strong enough to send her opponent flying, and due to the damage it can rack up, it's also a major part of her moveset, which is unlike any character in the game. Several of Ami's moves can link into this combo, and each hit can be special cancelled, so try mixing up your tactics in order to get the best results. Ami's forward and up tilt are both moves that Ami can use to link into her standard combo, those being Divine Strike for her forward tilt and Wolf Flipper for her up tilt. Divine Strike will have Ami reach Divine Retribution out in front of her and perform a horizontal slash, while Wolf Flipper will have Ami push her upper body up off the ground and up into the air, knocking any opponent caught by it off their feet. Both moves, as previously mentioned, can immediately be cancelled into 5 wins or a special move, adding even more options to Ami's mix-up game. Ami's down tilt, however, is something a little different. It's called digging, and is designed to emulate the digging mechanic from Okami. By mashing the A button, you'll continue to dig more and more until you open up a hole in the ground, which will put any opponent caught in the attack into a buried state. This move does very little knockback, but it is possible to escape once you've been caught in the combo attack. Ami's dash attack is Dashing Rush, also known as her dash attack from Okami itself. Ami will rush forward head first and ram into the closest opponent, knocking them away. Not too much to say that can't be told by just looking at the move, other than it can sadly not be used to break pottery in this game. Moment of silence if you please. And alright, let's continue. All of Ami's smash attacks utilize secret brush techniques from Okami, namely the likes of Fire Burst, Thunderbolt, and Whirlwind. Fire Burst, her forward smash, will have Ami create an infinite symbol of fire, dealing rapid damage and launching her opponent away. If you charge the attack, you'll even see her draw the strip with her Celestial Brush, which is the same for the other 2 smash attacks. Since this attack does count as fire damage, it will set off any explosives it hits, so be careful. Up smash is Thunderbolt, in which Ami will call down a bolt of lightning to deal damage to her opponents. Keep in mind that I said call down, as this move's hitbox actually starts at the top as opposed to the bottom, making it very effective at both trying to catch anyone trying to recover high or above her on platforms. This move is very fast, but has a slight startup as a result, so pick your chance to use it very carefully. Down smash is Whirlwind, which will have Ami call upon the power of the wind to whip around her like that of a tornado, dealing rapid damage and hitting on both sides of her before whipping her opponent away. This attack also has Windbox properties, meaning that it can also push away opponents that try to get close to her while she's trying to perform the attack. Ami's neutral air is Divine Roundabout, Divine Retribution's standard aerial attack from Okami. This move can be used in rather quick succession thanks to its very short cooldown, allowing Ami to land the attack multiple times in one go by cancelling the move into itself upon contact. This move is less about knockback and more about damage, which is why Ami can use this move up to 3 times in a row before the opponent gets knocked away. However, while powerful, its range is rather limited for that of a neutral air, so getting in with it might be a bit risky. Ami's forward air is Air Rush, which will have Ami push herself through the air like she's performing an aerial tackle. This move can cover a decent distance and, like Divine Roundabout, can be cancelled into another aerial should it land, but that's only if the move actually comes into contact with an opponent. Should Ami miss, this move's cooldown is rather long, meaning Ami will more than likely not be able to attack again until she touches the ground or cancels into a special move. Ami's up air is Wolf Flip, which will have Ami flip backwards in midair, knocking any opponent near her up even higher into the air. This move cannot be cancelled like her previous aerials can, but can instead be used to juggle her opponent should she be quick enough to get a follow-up and read her opponent's DI. Ami's back air is Bronco Kick, which will have Ami stick her hind legs out behind her in order to deal damage. This move hits twice and can be used as a spacing tool or as a means of finishing off an opponent when off screen. This move cannot be cancelled into a special, much like her up air. Ami's down air is Celestial Spike, which will have Ami perform a front flip, a trail of ink following her tail as it explodes outward near the end of the flip, dealing damage and knocking any opponent it hits straight down. This is Ami's Meteor Smash, and is the only normal move that Ami has that uses her Celestial Brush for anything other than a technique. For her get-up attack, Ami will spin around, Divine Retribution spinning around her as she gets back on her feet, all while rushing forward and biting for her ledge attack. Speaking of biting, that's exactly how Ami grabs her opponent, all while crunching down with her jaws for a pummel. This pummel is designed to be one that can be used in rapid succession, much like Lucario's pummel. Ami's forward throw and back throw will both use the power of wind to knock her opponent away, either in front of her or behind her. These throws are visually similar to her throws in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. For her up throw, she'll summon a water spout at her opponent's feet, launching them up into the air. Lastly, for her down throw, she'll call down a blizzard in order to pelt the opponent with ice shards before bouncing them off the floor. Now it's time to talk about specials, and while Ami is definitely the most simplistic character I've designed so far, her specials turn her into a character that's completely unique from the rest of the cast. You know, in case being an actual wolf on all fours wasn't different enough. Ami's standard special is Celestial Brush, which also doubles as her character gimmick. When Celestial Brush is activated, Ami will be able to choose from 5 different abilities that appear around her in a wheel, mirroring that of the abilities wheel from the pause menu in Okami. These abilities are Power Slash, Bloom, Cherry Bomb, Rejuvenation, and Veil of Mist. Each move giving Ami a unique utility that can be cancelled at any time by pressing the shield and B button at the same time. The first ability, Power Slash, is probably Ami's most well-known ability from Okami. When this brush technique is equipped, the player will be able to hold the B button down and draw a line in any direction they want, which will turn into a Power Slash if it comes into contact with something they can actually hit. This attack is both very quick and very powerful, all while dealing a ton of shield damage. This attack can even be used when offstage and in the air, but since it takes some time to set up, it's not recommended that you try it while airborne. Each use of Power Slash will take 1 ink pot to use, meaning that Ami can use up to 6 uses of Power Slash with 1 cycle of her ink pots. Keep in mind, however, that should you not line up your slash with anything, the attempt will still count as a usage of Power Slash, so timing and practice is key to using this move effectively. It should also be mentioned that, just like in Okami itself, this move can also be used to reflect projectiles, but be careful, as you don't have the luxury of the world slowing down while you line up your slash. The second ability is Bloom, which Ami used in Okami in order to make wilted plants grow. In Smash, this move is designed to stun anyone that the reticle paints over, the bloom even going through an opponent's shield. At its core, this move is an enhanced version of Mewtwo's Disable, but while that's the case, it also comes at a great price, namely 1.5 ink pots each time the move is used, regardless if it lands or not. This means that Ami only has 4 chances per ink pot cycle to land Bloom. The third ability is Cherry Bomb, an explosive with a ton of range and unique mechanics attached to it. This move costs 2 ink pots to use, and, once the B button is pressed, Ami will summon forth a massive Cherry Bomb, its fuse length depending on how long you held the B button for before you summoned it. This massive bomb can be pushed around like that of a ball, allowing Ami to move it towards her opponents should they try to run, or, on the other hand, have her opponent push it towards her in order to try and stay away from the blast radius. But make sure you don't hit it, as the bomb will explode after an attack of any form makes contact with it. The explosion's radius is massive, roughly 3 times the size of Link's bombs, and the closer the opponent is to the bomb when it explodes, the more damage and knockback it will do. You could even roll it off the side of a stage in order to try and gimp an opponent that's trying to recover. How devious. The fourth ability is Rejuvenation, which is mainly designed for area control as opposed to dealing damage. By pressing the B button and then holding a direction, the Celestial Brush will appear and create a wall that will stop all incoming attacks and can't be passed through, essentially creating extra obstacles on the stage for 3 seconds before it melts away. In the air, Ami can create platforms that both she and her opponents can stand on, but much like the clouds in Yoshi's story, they don't last long, so camping out on them is pretty much impossible. Each use of Rejuvenation will use 3 ink pots, so this is not an ability that Ami can use recklessly should she wish to stay stocked up on ink. The final ability, Veil of Mist, is a completely unique type of move that works almost exactly like that of Ashley's assist trophy. Once a Veil of Mist is equipped and the B button is pressed, Ami will let out a small howl and summon a large cloud around herself. The cloud bearing the marking seen when Veil of Mist is active in-game. Anyone that enters this cloud will be slowed down like they've been stuck in witch time or been affected by a stopwatch, and can only return to normal speed by exiting the cloud. Ami, however, is capable of moving through it freely, which is good as the cloud itself only lasts for 5 seconds before it disappears. This ability is the one that takes the most ink to use, taking a total of 4 ink pots, meaning that this ability may only be used once before Ami is forced to recharge, so timing and placement is everything when using this move. As previously mentioned, each ink pot will recharge after 4 seconds, all while starting a second after the ability has been initiated, meaning the first ink pot technically takes 5 seconds to recharge, while the remaining ones take 4 apiece. Ami's side special is Ink Bullet, a unique ability in Okami that is redesigned for Smash Bros. With this special, the player gets access to the Celestial Brush, with each push of the B button dropping a dot of ink on the screen. After lining up 4 dots of ink, the dots will flash with a white outline and deal damage to anything that they manage to get drawn over. In Okami, this move was originally only available to select weapons, but here in Smash, this move is usable with Divine Retribution. It's entirely up to the player as to how they line up the dots, as it can go from a straight line to dropping them all in the same spot. A dot on its own will deal very minimal damage, but the damage will double for each dot that hits the opponent, going from 4% all the way up to a whopping 32% damage. This special is very powerful when used properly, but it is also a special that makes use of the ink pots, each use of Ink Bullet taking half an ink pot to use. Because of this, players must balance the use of both this special along with their Celestial Brush techniques. Ami's up special is Green Sprout, which will have Ami soar through the air on vines as she flies in between 2 different Konohana blossoms. The player is capable of changing the angle of the blossoms, much like you can change the direction of Pikachu's quick attack, with Ami dealing damage to any opponent she hits during her ascent. This move, if positioned properly, can also snap to ledges. Ami's down special is Solar Reflector, a counter/reflector packed into one, which is now apparently a thing that Gosses have in common, isn't it? When used, Divine Retribution will spin out in front of Ami like that of a shield. Should an opponent hit her shield while it's active, she'll perform a flying body slam attack, dealing a ton of damage and sending her opponents flying. During the slam, Ami is completely invulnerable to damage, with the slam even being able to deal damage to other opponents should they be underneath her when she lands. Should a projectile hit the shield, it will immediately be launched in the opposite direction at almost double the speed, much like DDD's Inhale. Finally, Ami's final smash is Day to Night. By drawing a sun in the sky, Ami will be filled with energy, rushing her opponent and unleashing a barrage of her most powerful abilities. To end the attack, Ami will draw a moon in the sky, the area going dark as the constellation of Nagi will appear, cleaving down with his massive sword in order to launch opponents away. This is a reference to Moonlight's ability in the final boss fight, in which Nagi's constellation will cleave Yami in half and allow Ami to hit his core. That's the entirety of Ami's moveset, so let's end this video by talking about the extra parts of her character. Ami's victory theme is Boss Defeated, the song in Okami that plays after you defeated a boss. For her first victory pose, Ami will release her signature victory howl, which perfectly coincides with her victory theme. For her second victory pose, Ami will lay down and yawn, all while Isun, her companion throughout Okami, jumps around her. Lastly, her final victory pose will have her rushing past the camera at high speed, the world blooming behind her much like it does when you bloom a guardian sapling in Okami. Ami's first taunt is a simple howl, which fits seeing as she's a wolf. This is also her taunt in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Ami's second taunt features Isun, angrily jumping around Ami's head as she looks around carelessly. Lastly, Ami's third taunt is the best taunt in the game. Bark, bark, bark. In Okami, you're able to bark while out of combat by pressing a certain button. So much like Okami, you're able to move around and use this taunt. Drive your friends nuts with your non-stop barking. The last part of Ami's character is her colors, which are all references to other dog-based characters in Okami. First, there's Ami in her standard look, featuring her usual snow-white fur and red markings. Her second color will give Ami a more stone-like color scheme, a reference to her appearance as a statue at the very beginning of Okami. Colors 3 through 5 are all references to the 3 Canine Warriors that you must find throughout the world while in Okami, turning Ami's fur pink, brown, and gray/white respectively. Color 6 is a reference to the side character Oki, who could transform into a wolf. Color 7 is a reference to Ninetales, a boss from Okami, with Ami gaining golden yellow fur and keeping her red markings. Lastly, Color 8 will have Ami turn into Shiranui, her previous incarnation in Okami. When this costume is chosen, Divine Retribution will instead turn into Solar Flare, the reflector used by Shiranui during the events of Okami. And that's Amaterasu for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. While I wouldn't say her chances are inherently super high, the following Ami has amassed over the years has only continued to grow, even though she's yet to have a true sequel. However, talk of Okami 3 has been floating around for a long time now, and should the time come that it actually becomes a thing, Ami's chances of finally making it to Smash will definitely be there. For now, she's a pipe dream, but a very fun pipe dream. If you like what you saw, feel free to like and subscribe, as I'll be releasing a video every week, either on Sunday or on Monday. Also, starting now, I am now taking ideas for future videos, as the video that comes out after my next video will be entirely up to viewer choice. I know there are a lot of interesting characters out there that people would like to see movesets for, so if you have one that you think might be an interesting pick, leave it in the comments section below. The next video is definitely not going to be something you want to miss, however, as the next video will be covering my most wanted newcomer for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Who is it, you ask? Well, I'll leave you with a little teaser and let you figure out the rest on your own. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.